Welcome everyone, this is your host Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by Gates of Krystalia. This is a card-driven isekai style tabletop RPG. It is available in 6 languages. And they have recently released the Last Deux advanced rulebook. This is an optional expansion that adds many things, such as the game world information, character development details. You also have the solo rules to play this as a solo experience or co-op experience without a game master. You also have isekai tropes, such as the beach trip, the romance system, the school trip. Definitely worth getting. You will find it in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by Dead Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have recently released Daughters of Lamb. This is a pay-what-you-want tabletop RPG where you get to play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. You will find it in their website. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products and check out their recent release, Final Frontier. This is a sci-fi, a streamlined sci-fi tabletop RPG where you get to explore space for justice, for profit, for both. You will find it in their website. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Today, I am starting a new review series featuring Titans of Fallen Earth. This is a mecha versus kaiju type of role-playing game. If you like Pacific Rim, if you like Kaiju number 8, if you like Godzilla, if you like... There are so many anime, series, movies, comic books, manga, like graphic novels that address this sort of situation. So I think you will love Titans of Fallen Earth if you are a fan of those tropes and the awesomeness of those fights. Now let's talk about the quality of the PDF. My only criticism: no bookmarks. You do have hyperlinks for the table of contents, but you have to constantly return to the table of contents over and over to navigate the PDF. That is not, it's not very efficient. Apart from that, everything is well written, organized, and explained. The graphic design, the layout, it is quite high-tech, sci-fi high-tech, but it is a post-apocalyptic setting at the same time. The illustrations, or rather the images, they fit the theme so well. So overall, the quality is really good, but bookmarks, it would have been great if there are plans to add bookmarks in the future. Yeah, in the near future rather. Definitely, it would be a good consideration. Now let's talk about the contents. The book starts with an introduction. This is a tabletop RPG that is a bit of a hybrid. It is part tabletop role-playing game and part war game, with huge monsters and robots fighting against each other, although there could be situations where you have to fight other robots. Who knows what may happen in the adventures, or kaiju fighting other kaiju. It's unpredictable. If you're a fan of classic Japanese franchises like Godzilla, Ultraman, etc., then you already know the feel of Titans of Fallen Earth. The setting is basically that the Soviet Union might be gone, but its influences are still far-reaching. The World Wide Web is in its infancy. TVs are still back-breaking behemoths, but at the same time, this is an alternate timeline. This is a possibility of what could have happened. And now you are warriors of a dying land. This is both a high-tech and low-tech world, a contrast, with humans scraping to claw their way back to modern day even while millions of survivors languish in disease-ridden and ash-covered ruins across the world. Out there, beyond the cold concrete walls of dreary post-apocalyptic cities, is a crater-pocked wasteland teeming with mutants, where raiders and mercenaries clash with the last remnants of end-of-the-world cults, secretive military orders, gangs, so many things. You are the pilot of a titan, a colossal and unfathomable new war machine that is used to face off against the threats that threaten mankind, or what is left of mankind. In this terrifying retro future, a dark dominion has lodged itself in a land frozen by nuclear winter. Not all is lost. This is also a game about warfare between, yes, giant monsters and robots, but it's about humanity being resourceful, powerful, brave, in order to survive against all odds. In other tabletop RPGs, you can control similar characters, kaiju, the mecha, but in this setting, there are factions with their own weapons, their own objectives. As players, you try to save humanity. You also have an introduction on how to play tabletop RPGs, and while it is not perfect, that is, it is very brief and not getting too much into the nitty-gritty details of role-playing, like very specific role-playing in the present, in the now, not having a conversation. I would say that's one of the flaws. Here it says, your job as a player is to tell the game master how your character interacts. The game master doesn't exist in the game world, just describe your action. You're not telling no one, you're taking action in the game world, but because this is a pen and paper tabletop RPG, the only way to do that is via description. And of course the game master uses that description, perhaps calls for a roll to see if you are successful at something that you are attempting. Perhaps it is an automatic success or failure depending on the context. But it's all about that. The game master presents a situation and the players interact with that situation. That is it. But overall, the introduction to tabletop RPGs here, it is much better than in other tabletop role-playing game books. Here you don't have like the, role-playing is storytelling, no, it is role-playing. Role-playing is acting, no, it is role-playing. That's why in actors in movies, in theater, they do not describe their actions, they just act, they take action. But in tabletop RPGs, you describe your actions. So the introduction, it is much better than in other. When it comes to introduction to role-playing games, much better than compared to other books. Now, what do you need to play this game? You need a handful of 6-sided dice. This is a dice pool system. Aside from that, you need your book, of course, character sheet. You actually have two files, the normal character sheet and the form fillable sheet. You can also use grids. Hex grid is recommended, and some tokens, miniatures, to represent the battlefield situation. Although, if you wanted to, you could also play this without grid, but I think this game works pretty well with a grid. And how do actions work in this game? The game master presents a situation, the players interact with that situation as their characters, and you resolve those challenges by rolling a handful of d6s. If you are very low when it comes to a particular skill applied, you only roll, let's say, 1d6, it would be very low. But if you are particularly skilled, perhaps you roll 2d6, 3d6, 4d6. For some incredible atomic breath type of attacks from the kaiju, perhaps 20 6-sided dice could be rolled, but those are rare situations. It's a dice pool game, you try to roll against a difficulty number, so it will be quite easy to surpass a difficulty of 10 if you are rolling 3 6-sided dice when compared to 2 6-sided dice. In this introduction, you also have a comic book. I don't want to spoil things, but the comic book is really good. That is, for a brief comic book that presents the setting, the situation, it represents the bleakness of the environment, the danger, the hazards, and also the heroics. I think that's very important. For this type of setting, when you're a pilot of mecha, you want those heroics. And this comic represents that perfectly. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to talk about the setting, the end of the Earth, and the rise of a new order. This introduction is really good. Like I said, I find the introduction to roleplay much better when compared to other books. I also like how they immediately tell you the mechanics, the type of world where you are taking action in. And so I can't wait to tell you about the rest of this book. Thank you for watching this part of the review. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment. This has been your host Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. And remember, in tabletop role-playing games, you are not telling stories about your characters. You are experiencing the game world as your characters. Once again, thank you and see you later.